Netflix. 33 seconds of logos. Someone wanted to make sure we got up close and personal with this. Look at how I'm destroying my body for arbitrary, somewhat self-imposed standards of excellence, sadomasochism cliche. Also, any hobby that requires you to add additional layers of skin to your skin. I refuse to believe this pitch a tent on the side of a sheer-ass mountain situation exists. It's just not a thing. Doesn't happen. You can tell me it has its own name, portalage, and I'd call you a dirty liar. You can show me Wikipedia pages, eyewitness accounts, documentary footage, home video, a signed affidavit from Zeus. Nothing will convince me that any human being came up with this and then did it. Nothing.
Come on, let's go. Can you get up, please, please, please?
Being a human alarm clock to the person you 100% need to be fully rested.
Well, babe, your breath.
Morning breath shaming the person you're waking up with all the grace of a sweaty puppy that needs to go outside to pee.
Oh, wait. Leave me alone.
Expecting me to believe any mortal being in the history of time and space has reacted to a close-up of Charlize Theron in this way. In case you confused it with CinemaSins Wall Norway. Climbing. Snacking. Excitement. Best practice when clipping in a carabiner designed to save you from a deadly fall is to have the spinny bit, or locking sleeve, spinning down, not upwards, so that gravity can't undo your hard work. Google flu, people. It'll save your life. Of course, it's even more important to make sure the damn thing is even turning as you're spinning it.
Come on, old man.
Nope. Yes, climbing sheer mountains for the lulz and street cred. Absolutely classic wolf behavior.
Damn, it's getting cold.
That's just your Aussie ass.
That's Aussie-assist. Also, his ass is actually an arse. I don't know if Chekhov ever expected geological features to fall under his rule, but honestly, how could he have predicted that Charlize Theron would eventually kill a man with an overhang?
I can do this.
Just take your time.
As a society, we have not collectively vetoed take your time as a piece of advice that can be applied to every situation. No one will be seated as Sasha is repeatedly unseated from this mountain.
We can both hit the top and make tent wall within an hour.
Is camping on top of the mountain in the open storm somehow safer than camping along the cliff where you're at least partially shielded? Because these two are about to do some panicked last-second rappelling down this cliff as if they had no contingency plans for bad weather, despite the fact that we could all literally see it coming from miles away.
That's exactly why you have a climbing partner, so that someone can make the call when one of you loses the plot.
How do you know which of you has lost the plot? By most people's standards, the very fact that you're on this mountain is evidence enough of your insanity.
It was beautiful climbing up until when it wasn't.
Tommy survives this. For now.
I don't know how many more of these trips I've got left in me.
The character manifests their own death just before it happens, so the protagonist can bathe in a pool of guilt and sadness for the rest of the movie.
Stop it. You do this every time. You know, the climb gets tough, and then all of a sudden you start talking like this.
Yeah, super weird that he seems to be growing an aversion to life or death situations when other hobbies like wiffle ball exist.
You're gonna tell me your luck has run out halfway up a mountain.
Sasha doesn't seem to realize that this nice bit of foreshadowing is not nearly as impressive if he shares it on his way down the mountain.
Did you try enough for this rap?
Yeah! Tommy, wait!
It's insane that she would say yes to this without actually checking. I'm honestly amazed Tommy survived long enough for them to get married with a partner like this. The problem is she isn't an amateur. They are both experienced, and this is a mistake a first-time climber would struggle to make. Pulling a scream and fridging Eric Bana before we're even out of the cold open. Did some Netflix exec seriously think we'd be shocked by this when he appears in zero of the marketing for the movie and wasn't even on the press tour?
Tommy, wake up! You're dragging us off the mountain!
Blaming the unconscious person for being dead weight. We will now leave Sasha on the side of the mountain with a storm and one fewer husbands than she started with. No need to see how she gets out of this mess. I'm sure it wasn't at all interesting. Let's just do a title card transition to 5 months later. We've clearly had more than enough action for now. Also, do you know how many movies, books, songs, and other junk is named Apex? Why do you want to make the marketing team's job a nightmare with your generic one-word title? Notice this blue wristband. It will be important later. Holding on to bad luck charms. Also, that compass is in great shape for an object that presumably fell thousands of feet to a rocky landing under Tommy's very flattened body. While the areas of Australia where you won't be able to get regular cell reception are bountiful, the areas where satellite reception is not available under the big open sky are non-existent. Somebody needs to talk to whoever is repping the ramen noodle lobby right now. I don't think the shift from college student staple to food of the sad woman who just killed her husband is the rebranding they're looking for.
Takes a lot of ego, you know?
If you're nice, I'll share some of my ego with you.
Vanity. This park doesn't exist.
You going out alone? I wouldn't recommend it. People get lost in these woods all the time. You can just sign in for us.
Okay, there are people getting lost, and there's having an entire-ass message board of lost people that have never been found. I mean, at this point, I'm shutting down the national park, right? There are entire families missing, and this ranger is just like, yep, sucks, but make sure you sign in before you die.
Where you heading? We could be your guides. We know the place real well. I think she's okay, fellas.
It's hard to feel any kind of anxiety about this scene when neither of these two guys are played by Taron Egerton. If one of them were, then I might believe they're the big bad of the movie. Right now, I'm just wondering why the movie is wasting any of my time trying to make me think he isn't the big bad.
Can you add this?
Climbing mountains in a snowstorm is one thing, but gas station jerky is just reckless self-endangerment.
I'm trying to get to Grand Isle Narrows.
I hear a pretty important part of mountain climbing is being able to find the mountain. I don't know many climbers who struggle this much to read a damn map with a compass. Also, I feel pretty bad for Sasha. I mean, people ask for directions all the time, and 99.99999% of them don't accidentally end up asking a local serial killer who just happens to be passing by on the human jerky side hustle.
Just before you get to the split break, you're going to find the most amazing camping area.
I honestly have no idea if this is a good Australian accent or not. The point is, I'm very well aware that Taron Egerton is not Australian. You could get a kangaroo to tell me this was a fantastic accent, and it would still be more distracting than the talking kangaroo I just met.
Sorry, can I give you my advice? Completely different.
Sasha, in yet another demonstration of her complete lack of self-preservation or critical thinking skills, takes the vague off-road advice of this stranger selling mystery meat and is somehow able to follow a finger quickly jabbed at a map through a series of complex and dangerous whitewater kayaking routes. Also, if Ben's goal is to trap her for his Deliverance Outback Edition game, why not just tell her this is the only way to get there? Why risk missing out? Apparently, the sun goes down quickly here. Or Sasha just spent the entire evening sitting in her van, staring vacantly into the emptiness of her life after the completely avoidable death of her husband. I don't think that's the case, because this movie would have felt obligated to show every tedious second of it. The creeps from the gas station just so happen to be camping out at the same place Sasha is, because there's one group of perverts in Australia and they've zeroed in on our main character. Oh my god, these hunters are hunting deer and then eating it. That is so absolutely in character and not that weird at all. Why do we care?
We're just trying to be nice.
Welcome to Why Women Choose the Bear, the movie. Time for 2 minutes of extreme whitewater montage rafting, just to make sure we're all aware that Charlize Theron is a badass. Waste of time movie we already knew. Also, this is somehow not one of the many ways Sasha almost dies in this film. Any hobby that requires you to carry the thing that's supposed to be carrying you. It is absolutely wild that this movie totally skips by the fact that Sasha starts this ride with no watch on her wrist, capsizes her boat, spots a watch on the riverbed, grabs it, and then puts it on in a matter of seconds. Impending murder hunt aside, Sasha apparently has no plan to get back to her car up a series of rapids and waterfalls from the random, suspiciously quiet spot some strange man jabbed at on a map with his finger, seeing this creepy photo memorial display at the place she was told was a hidden secret and deciding to not only stay but to sleep there unprotected. I mean, she didn't even have the decency to leave a photo on that murder wall before she left. Sasha wakes up to find her bag and pants are missing. But why did she hang them so fucking far away from her tent? I mean, there are plenty of branches right next to her tent, and that increases the chances of hearing a critter trying to nab your human jerky. I mean, there's a freaking entire ass bush blocking her view even if she wanted to take a peek at it. The snake adds nothing to the story beyond an eye-rolling snake in the grass metaphor to show that friendly Ben is actually her enemy. Except this is snake in the tent, not grass, you chump. I have no idea what a snake in the tent is a metaphor for, other than describing a movie pretending to be cleverer than it actually needs to be. If all my gear went missing from a specific spot on land, my first thought would not be to search for it by traveling to a completely different location by water. Also, Sasha has lost her bag, including her cell phone, and continues to trek on with her journey instead of turning back right now. Finding this man waiting in the hidden spot he sent you to, next to a witchy hut, complete with chains and hooks, near where your gear was stolen, and somehow continuing to trust him. Also, if this is how Ben nabs his victims, I'm amazed he has any amount of jerky to sell. He had to rely on Sasha choosing his trail to begin with, and then randomly stumbling upon his camp. This would be like Michael Myers choosing not to break out of Smith Grove's sanitarium, and Laurie just happening to stumble upon his cell.
Yeah, it's the wombats. They're texting all the time. They text constantly.
Mentioning wombats, but at no point showing us said adorable little bundles of lethal Australian roadkill. Also, anytime a wombat is mentioned in the media, there is a contractual obligation to mention that their poop is cube-shaped. I have no idea why we can't crack into the education algorithm.
Yeah, that's a little wombat paw working the key.
Assuming all wombats peck type like boomers.
Why Genos, by the way?
That was my mum's name.
Ben seems well known locally. Presumably the locals also knew his mother, yet no one found it suspicious that he started making meat jerky named after her shortly after her presumably mysterious disappearance.
You ever seen this before? It's water siphoned from a tree.
Everything about this guy screams whittles his own sex toys, and again, Sasha isn't running for the hills.
Don't worry, I forgot to pack my roofies.
Citation needed. It's not a thing that Sasha says in this moment.
My mum brought me out here when I was a kid.
Let me guess. Britain?
Looks like Apex went to the beekeeper school of including a British upbringing so you can explain away any discrepancies in your accenting of things.
Fight your way through a lot of shit. You can't be your wiring.
Marijuana deniers.
That's why I'm out here. don't have to play act like a human being.
Kind of tired of movies peddling the idea that not wanting to play act like a human being isn't just a fundamental part of being a human being. We are all unique, just like everyone else.
Most hunters aren't like that. The good ones respect the wilderness and we make use of what we kill.
The serial killer claims to have purer motives than non-human killing hunters cliche.
No, he was special, Sasha. Just like my mum.
Sasha waits until Ben holds up a sign saying, "I'm definitely the villain and I mean you harm," before even thinking about her stranger danger training. This bracelet that is somehow now impossible to miss was at no point visible any of the numerous times Ben exposed his left wrist during this scene.
You've got until the very end of this song to get as far away from me as you can.
Go by the Chemical Brothers is 4 minutes and 20 seconds long. 56 seconds of that time is wasted by Ben explaining the rules of his game and some general hesitation on Sasha's part, meaning she's left with 3 minutes and 24 seconds to, well, go. By my watch, that is nowhere near enough time to get ahead of an experienced serial killer who is far more familiar with the local topography than you are. She could have the entirety of Bohemian Rhapsody, and that still wouldn't be enough time to get away. Ben is full of shit if he thinks this is in any way a fair hunt. Also, Sasha might not have the encyclopedic knowledge of the Chemical Brothers that I have, but she should also realize she doesn't have nearly enough time to get away. What she should do is end this here and now and swipe out his legs and smash his head in instead of risking a pursuit through a forest that he knows much better than her. I love it when actors like Taron Egerton go full psychotic evil and do a crazy little dance number like this. There's a very good reason Matt Smith was a highlight of Morbius. Do you remember how terrible Morbius was? Anyway, good shit from TE here. It is filmographically impossible for a character to run away from a bad guy through a forest and not immediately fall down. Spending what I'd guess is half of your 3 minute and 24 second lead time prepping your kayak instead of running in the exact opposite direction of Ben's most likely first stop. Also, I think it's a safe bet that Ben will head here first. So Sasha's best plan is to spend this time climbing a tree with her kayak paddle and then aerial beating him in the brain when he comes by. Such an obvious play, right? Sasha takes a nasty knock to the head here. Well, I assume it's nasty. It doesn't seem to affect her even a little bit for the rest of the movie. Sasha takes off a layer of clothing and throws it into the river. I'm not sure why, unless it's supposed to throw Ben off, because he might assume the river stole her clothes. Maybe that knock to the head did affect her after all. Ben tries to make Sasha feel special to be selected as his prey when his last victims were a normie family with kids. Jeez, some psychos will kill just anyone. Also, when exactly did Ben set this phone trap up? There's no way he could know Sasha would for sure come this way. So there's no chance he set it up the night before or that morning, meaning he had to have set this up in the moment, meaning he would have to know exactly the route she'd take and get there ahead of her. Not only that, he has to get here faster than her on foot to set up this phone and then get back up to high ground. And there's only one Ben I know capable of that. Earlier, Ben said he deliberately kept her phone, likely to keep her from calling for help. So why did he give her another in mint condition? Also, if he's worried about phone service being a viable option, why is this one turned on at all? Even if the phone connects for a few seconds, surely the police can use that to get a ping on the location of a phone belonging to a missing person. I don't know, people. I don't think this backwoods cannibal psychopath is thinking straight. Before this started, Ben said he loaded her up with supplies to make it fair. Sasha believes this and munches upon the food that could and probably should be poisoned. I'm on the run from a man who absolutely means to do me harm. Time to pick the slowest ass way to put some horizontal distance between us. In case you suddenly confuse this with somewhere not in the middle of nowhere. Continually being surprised that the person who knows this terrain best can figure out where you'll head next, when you've done nothing less expected than just following the river. I feel like the direction for this shot was, be that creepy guy at the bar who makes too much eye contact. And the sin is that I am now pregnant with Taron Egerton's baby. And nobody wants that except me. He's on to me. Time to make a quick escape by climbing very slowly back the way I came. He'll never suspect it. I feel like someone aimed for terrifying quirk but landed on screaming goat. Nazgulizing your Charlize Theron. Seriously, how does he know enough to track her all the way into this crevice but decides, nah, this far, no further? There's no way the experienced rock climber climbed down these rocks. This strategically placed thigh. Sasha spots that Ben is doing some skinny dipping and takes full advantage of that by not running away and instead just untethering his boat.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Sasha is caught by a non-lethal bear trap, but how the hell could Ben have known she'd try to steal his boat? She could have very easily just decided to keep running through the forest. If she does manage to escape, then she's bringing the police back with her, and that's bye-bye Ben. This is such a risky plan with minimal payoff. This pepper spray has not only fallen out of the unsecured exterior side pocket of her backpack, but actually still functions after going for several rocky swims. Ben rushes in and takes a full pepper spraying to the face, and it was completely avoidable. I mean, she's in a bear trap, dude. She's not going anywhere. What was the rush? Sasha loses her pepper spray advantage by wasting time trying to pull the chain out of the rock instead of chopping her foot off. Come on, Sasha. I know your rock climbing ass has watched 127 hours. Commit! Then again, if she's too squeamish for that, I suppose, just maybe, if she felt like it, she could have grabbed the fucking crossbow right away.
Okay, let's get this off you.
Trap and release and trap again hunting.
Be playing a game.
Jesus, not every horror movie is trying to rip off Saw, Sasha.
It's not a game. It's a ritual.
Yeah, I'm sure John Kramer feels the same way. We're supposed to believe that scrappy fighter Sasha just allowed herself to be trussed up like this simply because a partially blinded Ben continued to wield the same crossbow he'd been aiming at her for the last 20 minutes.
There's something seriously wrong with you.
Sasha, this is the part of the journey where you try to be nice to him and possibly even seduce him into releasing you after letting his guard down. The time for stating the blindingly f***ing obvious passed sometime around the third or fourth
You want the easy way or the hard way?
thing my college girlfriend said to me during our first time somehow makes it into the script.
Let me know when you reach your pain threshold.
At this point, just give my college girlfriend a writing credit.
Rituals are very important. They ground us.
Proof that some men will literally mansplain their torture sessions before going to therapy.
Do you know there are tribes that file down their own teeth to sharp points?
Chekhov's verbal history of filed down pointy teeth. Thinking you're cool enough to drop a Sam Neill retreat into the shadows move when your ass is far more Homer Simpson disappears into bush gif. At some point, Sasha is untied from her tree and is transferred to the boat. The movie doesn't want you to see this scene because you'd all be wondering why the f*** she didn't choose that time to try and escape or knock him the f*** out.
It was just an unfortunate accident.
Yeah, but I read online that he was really experienced. Doesn't really make sense.
Actually, it does. If Ben actually read what had happened, then he'd know Tommy's age and that his best climbing days were past. He'd also know there was a storm, and that would have made even the most experienced climbers have second thoughts. There's no real reason for Ben to dig in here, unless being a cannibal has given him the ability to read minds. Initially navigating into the rapids while dragging a human anchor, likely to get caught on a rock, causing you to capsize. Yeah, I'm calling it. The backwoods psychopath is definitely not thinking straight.
Why?
So you can get down there. Put it on.
She does, which is weird because this pit absolutely screams, holy hell, that's a whole heap of hole, I'm not coming out of hole. It was at this point, 2 days into all the attempted murdering, that Sasha finally realized she was with a murderer. Also, Sasha has been brought to the cave of cannibal corpsing while there's still a half hour of movie left, meaning she isn't going to die and we're just biding time until some kind of crazy escape happens. That's great if you fill that time with something interesting, but instead we just have my mom loved me so I ate her. This is exactly why I don't f*** around with sex swings.
There are native tribes that say to capture the spirit of your prey, you have to consume its liver.
Revering the practices of tribes you don't even bother to learn the names of. I don't know if the character design here was intentionally aiming for Australian Gollum, but that is certainly where it landed. Rumor has it that Taron Egerton went full method and watched that Charlie Bit My Finger video 744 times to get this performance just right.
You know what she used to say to me? Jeno loves Benno. And Benno loves Jeno.
You're right, that is super annoying. I understand now why she had to go.
Do you understand?
No, but I'm not sure I'm supposed to. I think I'm supposed to just enjoy these movies because crazy person hunting sane person seems to be a cheap formula to reproduce. No doubt, biting off an ear will be a major and painful inconvenience, but about 6 inches lower is the jugular, and that's a more permanent inconvenience. Also, teaching the Netflix generation to fight cannibalism with cannibalism. Then takes a hit to the head and is out cold, which means movie over. All Sasha has to do is wait for him to unconsciously drown. The only way she can screw that up is by dragging his ass to shallower water and then limply dropping a rock near him. What the f*** is going on here? Deus Ex, you look like my mama now. Sasha makes another baffling choice here by smashing his leg instead of going for the head. I'd say it's because she doesn't want to kill him, but we just watched her try to drown him. I guess she knows that dragging his ass up a mountain and then killing him will be much more thematically interesting.
You must have one hell of a dentist. Where did you eat him to?
Assuming all dentists are men.
When he fell, he was dragging both of us off the mountain. I had to let him go.
You did not. You let them go because the rope slipped out of your hand. Deliberately choosing to let him go would have been way more interesting.
I'll never know if he was still alive.
Skip.
You have to get to the top of that wall today.
Hey, that's just what she said at the beginning of the movie about the other summit she wanted to climb that got her partner killed.
We either get up there today, or I wait for you to die.
Or you finish the job now, unhook yourself from his harness, and f*** off out of here. I have no idea why she's so determined to make him a part of her Did I Kill My Husband therapy climb.
You can't climb it without me.
Baby, it is a tandem climb.
Someone hasn't watched Free Solo, and it shows.
I'm gonna tell you how to tie a knot.
Womansplaining knots to a man who lives wild in the mountains.
But if you try to drop me, then I will rip
off that wall.
Well, that seems like a terrible idea that will leave your ass and broken leg up the wall with no way up or down.
And you told me Phil didn't look like he was flying.
Baiting the person who already has more than enough reason to de-wall your ass. Also, movie will never bring this moment full circle by having Sasha say, "Look who's flying now," when she throws Ben off the cliff 2 minutes later. Quentin Tarantino's Apex.
You promised me we'd die together!
Believing the promise of someone you've hunted, kidnapped, and given a tour of your cannibal cave. I guess nothing cures a broken heart caused by the accidental death of your husband than the deliberate murder of a serial killer under the same circumstances. Is this what healing looks like? I'm not saying Sasha's character was miscast. I'm just saying Tom Cruise made this shit look a lot easier in Mission Impossible 2. Sasha has to overcome an overhang just like the one she couldn't get past that led to the death of her husband because Australian rock walls are dicks. Sasha gives up on using her foot and decides to brute force it with her arms. This is a terrible idea. Unless she makes a habit of walking on her hands all day, her legs are always going to be the more reliable muscle for this. Sasha must have really memorized that map she lost days ago in this completely unknown to her vast national park. Never mind, she just had to wait for this convenient car passing on this remote road cliche.
Could you please take me to my car at Blackstone Bay?
If she is only just saying this now, it makes me wonder where they were originally planning on taking her.
I know where they are, all of them.
Not necessarily. Some of them might have actually been genuine dumbasses who got lost on the trail. Also, she was blindly running through the forest and was then dragged to the place where Ben kept all the bodies, all while suffering a concussion, dehydration, and malnourishment. Based on that, I don't think she knows where any of them are beyond a general some way, that-a-way, and a hole over there-ish.
Authorities have confirmed that at least 20 bodies have been recovered.
Ben clearly misunderstood how using every part of your kill works. Littering.
Most mountains know how to send you to destination